With question 5, I can see it's 3 times something is equal to 2 times something, or 3 times whatever's in the bracket is equal to 2 times whatever's in the bracket. Now 2 is a smaller number there, or coefficient of or the number outside the bracket, but 2 is not a factor of 3, so that means we have no other choice but to expand both sides of the equal sign. So we'll start off with the left hand side. So I've got 4x plus 3, and then outside the bracket I've got 3. So 3 times 4x is 12x, and 3 times 3 is 9, so it's positive 9. So the left hand side is just 12x plus 9 is equal to, now we'll do the same for the right hand side, x, sorry, should be there, x plus 6, and the 2 comes here, so 2 times x is 2x, and the 2 times plus 6 is plus 12. So we have the right hand side is equal to 2x plus 12. Now we ask ourselves which side has more x's. So obviously the left hand side with 12x has more x's than on the right hand side, which only has 2x. That means I want to collect all the x's on the left hand side, and I do not want to see any x's on the right hand side, which means I have to take away 2x on this side to get rid of this 2x, and take away 2x there. So on the right hand side, 2x minus 2x is just 0, limit plus 12, which we just write as 12. On the left hand side, 12x take away 2x is 10x, and the plus 9 just copy it down. And now to get the x on its own, I have to take away or get rid of the plus 9. So I have to take away 9 on the left hand side, take away 9 on the right hand side. So 12 take away 9 is equal to 3. And the plus 9 should be minus here. The plus 9 and the minus 9 just cancels out, leaving with just 10x. So to get the x on its own, I have to divide both sides by 10. So on the left hand side, the times 10 and divide 10 cancels out, leaving me with just x. On the right hand side, 3 divided by 10, I can just leave it as a fraction of 3 over 10. So x is equal to 3 over 10, or 0.3. And like I said, it's always a good idea to now to substitute this value. So instead of x here and x here, use 3 over 10 or 0.3 to check if your answer is correct. Question 6. So again, I can see 5 multiplied by a bracket is equal to 3 multiplied by whatever is inside the bracket on the right hand side. Now I'm looking at the numbers 3 and the 5. 3 is not a coefficient of 5, so we don't have much of a choice. We have to expand both sides. So we start off with the left hand side, x plus 2, and then the 5 is on the side. So 5 times x is 5x, and then 5 times plus 2 is plus 10. So the left hand side of the equals, when you expand the bracket, is 5x plus 10, which is equal to, and then I would expand the right hand side, so 4 minus x and 3 here. So 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 times minus x is minus 3x. So we have 12 minus 3x. So now we ask ourselves which side has more x's. So I can see there's more x's on the left hand side, so I have to collect all my x's on the left hand side, which means I want no x's on the right hand side. So how do we do that? We have to get rid of this minus 3x. We do that by adding 3x to both sides. So obviously here the minus 3x and the plus 3x cancels out, leaving with just 12 on the right hand side, and the left hand side 5x to add 3x. So remember we had minus 3x here, so we have to add 3x's. So 5x add 3x is 8x, and let's copy the plus 10 down. Then to get the x on its own, I need to get rid of the plus 10, so that means I have to take away 10 from both sides. So take away 10 on the left hand side and then take away 10 on the right hand side. So 12 take away 10 on the right hand side is 2, and on the left hand side the plus 10 and minus 10 cancels out, leaving with just 8x. Now to get the x on its own, I have to get rid of this times 8. So to do that I have to divide by 8 on this side, I have to divide by 8 on this side. So on the left hand side the times 8 and the divide 8 cancels out, leaving with just x. On the right hand side it's 2 over 8, which we can simplify because they're both even numbers, the denominator and the numerator. So if you divide them both by 2, or if you half them both, so half of 2 is 1 and the half of 8 is 4. So the answer is x is equal to 1/4 or 0.25. And if you get a chance, substitute the answers. With this one you might be able to even use a calculator, because if you were to substitute. But there are other ways, even if you was non-calculator people and you had time and you want to check your answer. Question 7. So again we'll have to expand both sides. So if I expand the left hand side, so on the top I'll have x plus 2, and on the side I have this 5. So 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times the plus 2 is plus 10. So it's 5x plus 10 is equal to. Now the right hand side, again if I expand it, 2x plus 1, and on the left hand side I've got the 3, on the side there 3. So 3 times 2x is 6x, and then 3 times plus 1 is plus 3. So the right hand side, when you expand it, it's 6x plus 3. Now I ask myself which side has more x's. Obviously the right hand side has more x's with 6x. So that means I do not want any x's on the left hand side. So I have to get rid of the 5x. How do you get rid of 5x? You have to take away 5x. So if I take away 5x on the left hand side, I have to take away 5x on the right hand side. So on the right hand side, 6x take away 5x is just 1x, and then just write x. And the plus 3 here, we just copy it down. On the left hand side, obviously the positive 5x take away 5x is cancelled out, leaving with just plus 10, which I can write as 10. Now obviously if I want the x on its own, I have to get rid of the plus 3. How do you get rid of plus 3? You have to subtract 3. So I have to take away 3 on the right, I have to take away 3 on the left. So the plus 3 and the minus 3 should say subtract. I should subtract 3. So on the right hand side, the plus 3 and the minus 3 have cancelled out, leaving just x. On the left hand side, 10 take away 3 is 7, or x is equal to 7. Again, I will substitute this value into the original question. Wherever I see x, like here or here, I would replace it with 7. And if I'm right, when I put 7 in, the left hand side will equal the right hand side. Question 8. So we have x over 3 is equal to x minus 4. Now, to start this question off, I want to first of all get rid of this divide 3. It bothers me when I have a fraction like this, so I want to get rid of this divide 3 first. So how do you get rid of divide 3? What's the opposite of divide 3? It's times 3. So remember what we're saying. Listen carefully to the words I'm using. I want to times the whole of the left hand side by 3, and I'm going to multiply the whole of the right hand side, this and this, the whole of the right hand side by 3, so that we can get rid of this divide 3. So if I times this side by 3 and I have times that side by 3, now obviously if I'm dividing by 3 and I'm timesing by 3, that cancels out, leaving me with just x. And as I've just said, we're multiplying the whole of this side by 3, so it's 3 times x minus 4, because we're multiplying everything. It's a 3 times the x and the 3 times the minus 4. It's not just 3 times x. So we now have to expand the bracket on the right hand side. So x minus 4, and it's 3 here. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times minus 4 is minus 12. So the right hand side is 3x minus 12, and the left hand side is just an x. So which side has more x's? Where do we want to collect all the x's? On the right hand side. The right hand side has more x's. So that means on the left hand side we do not want to see any x's. So if I take away the x, I will have to take away 1x here as well. So obviously on the left hand side, x take away x is just 0, and on the right hand side 3x take away x, so 3x take away x is 2x take away 12. Now to get the x on its own, I have to get rid of the minus 12. So I have to add 12 to both sides. So it's just minus 12 out of cancels out, then just 2x, and here 0 plus 12 is equal to 12. So just to tidy it up a little bit, on the right hand side 3x take away x is equal to 2x. I'll just copy the minus 12 down. On the left hand side, the x minus x is just equal to 0. Now in order to solve it, I have to add 12 to both sides. In order to get that x on its own, I'll have to add 12 to both sides. So here the minus 12 and the add 12 cancels out, or add minus 12 add 12 is just 0, so leaving me just 2x on the right hand side. On the left hand side, 0 add 12 is 12. So now we have 12 is equal to 2x. So to get the x on its own, I have to divide both sides by 2. So divide by 2 here, divide by 2 here. So the times 2 and the divide to cancel out, leaving with just x on the right hand side, and 12 divided by 2 is just 6. So we now know that 6 is equal to x, or x is equal to 6. Should have written that here, but I just ran out of space. So we now know x is equal to 6. But remember, now go and substitute this. Wherever you see x now, put 6 in, see if it works. If it does work, if once you've put 6 in, it balances, then it's fine. So I'll just do a quick example of substitution here. So the question started off with x over 3 is equal to x minus 4. Now wherever I see x, I'm going to replace it with 6. So instead of x over 3, it's going to be 6 over 3 is equal to, instead of x minus 4, it's going to be 6 minus 4. So what 6 take away 4 is 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 2 is equal to 2, so we are correct. X is equal to 6. Now ideally I should have done this there with all the equals lined up.